Why does it have to load top down?
Exactly. Or why couldn't she be standing on her head?
Do you love the movies? Do you miss going to the video store, acid wash jeans, and MTV with music? Why know we do. Welcome to Mike and Anthony Soda Pop Culture Club. Me, Mike, along with my co-host Anthony.
Please excuse the crudeness and scale of this episode.
Bring our take on a classic movie every Monday from the 80s, 90s, and beyond, motherfucker. During which we'll play the game.
Hoverboarder?
Hoverboarder?
There you go.
That's funny. During which we'll play the game and open up a 6-pack of our favorite scenes. We also point out a couple of generic scenes as well. At the end of the show, we'll rate the movie 1 to 24 cans. 1 can is waking up in your mother's augmented bosom. That's gotta be weird.
24 cans waking up your girlfriend and she's turned into Elizabeth Shue on your porch. That's 24.
But before we get to all that, we want to let you know some things. We want to do movies suggested by our listeners, and that is you. And there's 4 ways to do this. 1 is join the Patreon. Suggest it there, we do it. 2, if you want to do it, us to do your movie like right now, and you can't wait, and you don't want to pay me anything monthly, but just one time. One time, $25 to our Venmo or PayPal at Soda Pop Culture Club, and we'll fast pass you. You're the next thing we do. You can interrupt our Back to the Future series. If you listen to this on Monday and say, I want this, and you send it to us, well, you're going to fuck our schedule up. But we'll do it. That's all I'm going to say. Plus, we have a third way, and it's on our website, sodapopcultureclub.com. There is a request portal in there. Put it in there. Maybe we do it. No guarantees. That's all I can tell you about that one. And you can also buy stuff like merchandise, see our schedule, do other fun things. And Anthony has another way.
Other one. Go to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. And in your review, mention a movie you'd like us to do. And we will check that motherfucker out.
We will. We'll do that.
We will. We'll
do the Apple Dumpling Gang or something. Whatever, those old Disney ones, right?
Sure.
We'll do some.
Sure.
Yeah. And a couple more things. Don't forget to share the show with your friends because, well, if you want to torture somebody, this is the best way to do it. And share our Instagram at Mike and Anthony,
yes,
where we post funny memes associated with the movies typically and memorials, like I've said before, all kinds of things.
Our show is like oral herpes. It will not spread if you don't open your mouth. What
movie is space herpes from?
Please and thank you.
Do you know what movie space herpes come from? Yes.
Shit, I do.
I got him, people.
On. You didn't get me.
I got him.
Space herpes.
What?
Oh, shit. It's not Spaceballs, is it?
No.
What the hell?
If you want me to tell you.
Just tell me.
Ray Matuzak is in it.
Just tell me.
Ice Pirates. Ice Pirates.
Fuck it.
You don't know Ice Pirates?
I've never seen Ice Pirates.
It's a weird space pirate movie where...
I thought I've heard space herpes somewhere else before, though. I feel like I have.
Probably with an X. There's no space between my herpes. Okay. And finally...
There's space between my dick and my mouth. That space.
Yeah. And that's it. Like Anthony said, go to Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, just do that. Don't listen to anything else we just said.
Just do that. Do that. Get a movie. Yeah, we go off on tangents. Are you ready for the trailer?
I'm so fucking ready for the trailer to get us from talking anymore. Please play it.
Do you remember the future?
You've got to come back with me. Where? Back to the future. Are we back? We're back.
What do you mean we're in the future?
October 21st, 2015.
Marty, we're going to be able to see our wedding.
Wow.
The future. I gotta check this out, Doc.
Look what happens to your son.
He's a complete wimp.
Don't talk to anyone. You've been looking.
Hey, look!
Don't touch anything.
I need to borrow your hoverboard.
And try not to look at anything. I didn't invent the time machine to win at gambling.
I can't lose.
I invented the time machine to travel through time.
Hey, Doc, I'm all for that. What's wrong with making a few bucks on the side?
Now,
The time continuum has been disrupted, creating an alternate 1985.
there have been a few changes.
It's like we're in hell or something.
No, it's Hill Valley, although I can't imagine hell being much worse.
But they'll all be back.
Eat less slackers!
Biff?
Hello? Hello, anybody home?
Mom, that can't be you. You're so big.
Michael J. Fox. Christopher Lloyd. Michael J. Fox.
More like a couple of teenagers, you know?
And Michael J. Fox.
Mom, is that you?
Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film, Back to the Future, Part 2.
That's exciting.
That's a long one.
Well, that's what she said.
She does, I know. Not to you.
So yeah, that's exciting stuff. Are you ready to play the most exciting game in the world?
I can't fake enthusiasm for this, so let's just play.
All right, here you go. What the game? We're going to play the game. And the game is where I'm going to read him 3 movie reviews. 2 of them are real. 1 of them is fake, which I created. And all he has to do every week, and with great success, all he has to do is guess the fake one. And he has become amazing at it. And I'm lying. That's sarcasm if you can't.
Amazingly bad.
Amazingly bad. I like it when I give you a choice 50-50 and you still get it wrong. All right.
Maybe I'm doing this on purpose. Did you ever think of that, fucknuts? Maybe I'm getting everyone wrong on purpose and leaving
Thank you for the self-esteem
right one
boost.
for last.
I appreciate the boost in self-esteem. You know, next time I see you, I'm going to hug you and I might touch navels or something.
That's okay. I got Mace.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
No.
All right.
Go.
Rob Thomas, Capital Times. A weak, convoluted attempt to cash in on the original's charms. Gary Thompson, Philadelphia Daily News. An entertaining but hollow picture. Dave Marshak, Steamboat Express. An inconsistent effort that tries to tread that line of a money grab sequel with new wonders for the audience.
I don't even know because I don't feel like you're not going to do Rob Thomas to me because
How do you know?
I don't know. But
Because maybe I'm just like the ocean under the moon.
you are not anything like that. I'm just going to say the third one
And why is that?
because I felt like it.
Why did you feel it?
Because I did.
All right.
So am I right or not?
Yes, you're fucking
Yeah,
right.
there we go, bitch.
But why are you right?
Well, because I stopped listening after the second one. I wasn't going Rob Thomas. And the second one actually sounded like a legit review. So I was like, I'm just picking the third one. That's why.
Well, see, I thought you would know because I didn't want to use it. But I used the name Dave Marshak, who is Dean Cameron's character in Ski School.
Which I've never fucking seen. So
You've never seen Ski School?
we've had this discussion. You dirty nipple.
People, if there's one movie you've
We've
got to
had
see
this
about
discussion. I've said I've never seen Ski School like
I
many
mean,
times.
I've even thought about we should do what are the greatest skiing movies of all time. You're talking Ski School, Out Cold.
Better Off
What's
Dead.
the one with Aspen Extreme?
Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead, yes. I mean, right there's 4 off the top of our head that are just amazing skiing movies that I can think of.
Hot Tub-
I mean, well,
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine,
There you go.
technically, I guess.
Oh, it's
There's
more. Hey, it's as much a skiing movie as Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So don't even fucking go there.
I would say, well, Die Hard.
The whole damn movie takes place at a
Christmas
fucking
party.
ski resort. It's a skiing
Yeah,
movie.
I would agree. I told you I'm with you, but they don't do much skiing. That's the only thing. That skiing isn't
Hey, no.
like central to
they
the theme.
fucking skied the K-12. They got that round in.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any other movies with skiing that I could think of that are
That are
classic off
not
the top of my
porn.
head. that are not. Have you seen a porn that's skiing?
You know what? I haven't, but that would be awesome. Don't you think?
Well, the ski poles. That's what it would be
Yes.
called. Check out my binders.
Let's hit the slopes.
Oh, well, that's it. You did win. He won one, people. I just want to say that's like his first win in like 30. So,
It's been a while.
I mean, he needs some self-esteem. So,
Oh man.
there we
good.
go.
That was good. It's
That
like
was good.
it's like that
It was good.
it's like that first shot of Vagisil when it has been so long
Whoa,
and
whoa.
you needed it so bad.
Where?
Who me what?
Where are you putting
Nope, nothing.
it? That's okay.
What did
All right,
oh,
people.
let's talk about the movie.
Yeah, hit us with the numbers.
All right, here's our breakdown by the numbers. Once again, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Thomas F. Wilson, and Elizabeth Shue as the new, maybe improved, Jennifer Parker, and Elijah Wood as one of the video game boys. Back to the Future 2 was released on November 22nd, 1989, taking in $332.9 million at the box office against a $40 million budget. It scores 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb and 63% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is that Rotten Tomatoes score a rotten score to you?
No.
Because the way they aggregate it is by reviews, and there are probably enough people in negative, but I don't think it's as bad.
I don't think I would not give it a 63%, I guess. It's not a 97 like the first one.
The first one should have been 100.
So.
Yeah. First one was too low. This one's still too low, but not the same way. It probably should be in the 80s, right? Probably somewhere around there.
Well, they couldn't because they set the first movie in the 80s. Or no.
No. The Rotten Tomatoes score, you fuck nut. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, I think you've got 7.8 on IMDb. I'd say that's more accurate than the Rotten Tomatoes.
Now, you did say something about Elizabeth Shue. So I got a fact here that I found about that situation. So I want to read that off because I think it's interesting.
Didn't we already talk about this?
If we did, I don't remember it, but I'm going to read this fact.
Okay.
Because I have it.
Good.
Fuck you. I'm doing what I want to do. Claudia Wells, who had played Jennifer in the original movie, actually, we didn't talk about this, had given up acting by the time part 2 was being filmed so that she could care for her mother. The role was recast and went to, as he said, Elizabeth Shue, because the sequel starts with the ending scene of the first film, and because Jennifer features prominently in them, they had to reshoot everything with Elizabeth Shue there. They had a reshot with her.
I feel like we talked about this. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the last
I don't remember. But I just know that that's interesting that because they can't reshoot the whole first movie, right? But they could do those ending scenes. And so I guess I don't know if we watched them, would we have seen differences? I don't know if I looked hard enough.
What do you mean reshoot the whole first movie? All you would have to reshoot is fucking 2 damn scenes.
You're right. That is so true.
That's
it's
all
not
you'd
much.
have to reshoot, and they could reshoot that right now, or they could have back then. You can re-release the damn movie starring Elizabeth Shue. How about that?
Now, I want to say this. I know you like Elizabeth Shue, but I thought the chemistry was better between him and Claudia in the first one than him and Elizabeth in the second one. I really did.
What fucking chemistry? They weren't on screen together enough for any chemistry.
Yeah, but the beginning when she's kissing and
we never saw Elizabeth Shue kiss him, so we don't fucking know.
My point is though, it just felt like when they were together, like she had a chemistry, like had a feeling, like it felt like a genuine relationship more to me. I don't know. I just felt it felt more comfortable with the other one.
I only saw them together for 30 seconds in the first one and 17 in the second one.
Hey, and guess what? They still had way more chemistry than.
There we go.
You know it.
Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner?
Yes. 2 hours of no chemistry.
I thought you were going to
30 seconds had more in that little drop.
I thought you were going to go for Leo and Kate Winslet.
That too. Yeah. I mean, I thought they had good chemistry for the little time I saw them together, and her writing her number and just the And at the end of the movie,
You know who else had better chemistry than Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner?
yeah, us.
Clint Eastwood and Clyde.
Yeah, true. Oh man. Hey, people, if you want to let us know who's had better chemistry, email us. Soda Pop Culture Mike at sodapopcultureclub.com. You can do that. And email me and let me know who you think have better chemistry than Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. You can give me a whole list. We'll say them.
Who had better or who had worse? I think we gotta go to the short list. Who had worse chemistry?
Oh, well, there's no way. There's no.
That's what I'm saying. Like your list, that's infinite. Who had worse chemistry on screen than Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston?
That guy riding the bomb in Doctor Strangelove had more chemistry with that atomic bomb than those two had.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, who had worse?
That chick painted in gold that died in Goldfinger had more chemistry with Goldfinger than those two had. So it's crazy. That's just rough. But no, I thought she did. I'm just saying. I just felt it. I don't know. I guess you didn't. You didn't when you watched. Because I just watched it. Obviously,
we weren't in the movie together for more than 20 seconds. How the hell can you gauge?
I don't know.
chemistry?
The way she would stand against him, the way they interacted, just seemed like a more natural couple. I thought that with Elizabeth Shue, it was a little more rigid. Just felt a little bit more frenetic. I guess best.
You didn't get to see them kiss in that one, so that like they did in the first one. So.
Well, they almost kiss, don't they? Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just that's one of the things that just bothers me is when I see things like that. When they made that change, I never really, and it's funny when we talk about this. I don't think I really noticed back then.
Here's the thing, though. I think this is part of the problem with that. You didn't get the lines, even though she was in it very briefly, Claudia Wells. You didn't get the lines and the way from beginning and then to the end when you see her again. Like,
yeah,
you haven't seen me in a week. I haven't. Like, you didn't get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's more towards how she was written into it in the sequel, which also it's like, it's not going to be, she was like, her part in this movie is more comedic relief, like seeing yourself and flipping out, fainting and like shit like that. And then being,
I agree.
Let's just dump her off here on the porch. She'll be fine. Let her sleep it up.
She's more of an afterthought. Funny part about that is when you, I was looking and there was another fact in there. This wasn't supposed to have a sequel. And so they had to write her in to where she was in the car and everything. And because Zemeckis originally, that wasn't his thing. He wasn't going to do that. Because remember, originally what the ending was going to be, right. George looking at a thing, seeing his son going, what the, basic WTF, So, yeah. So yeah, I get it. I don't know. I don't know. That was my feelings. I guess I'm alone on that one.
Yeah, you are.
But
look, let's just say they're both super hot at that time. So whatever.
And here's what here's what I want to get into. And this is where we're going to start getting into the plot of this movie now.
I think, I'm sorry, before you say that, I think the key factor, which I think what we would really need to see is a lineup with them to see which girl is closer in height to Michael J. Fox, because that would instantly... Oh,
Claudia Wells is taller.
That would show more chemistry.
I can remember she was taller.
That's why he was sitting up on the bench with her and stuff, and they didn't, But then again, like, I'm trying to remember.
Maybe it's maybe I'm projecting who I'm attracted to.
You don't see them standing side by side. It's like Elizabeth Shue is laying on the porch swing. Him and Claudia are sitting on a bench, and then him and Elizabeth Shue are sitting in the car together.
Maybe I told you. Maybe I'm projecting who I'm attracted to. That's probably what it is. That's probably what it is.
Which is fine.
Elizabeth Shue, Cocktail, or Back to the Future 2? I don't know.
Well, Cocktail.
Yeah.
What? Definitely, but well,
but she was with Tom Cruise in that movie, so it's really hard.
Again, another short as fuck actor that they have to stand on a riser beside you,
and that's why she's short. She's short, actually. So maybe if she's taller than someone, then it's a problem.
Elizabeth Shue, Cocktail, like that's it, obviously, because she takes her top off in the water.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The good part. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, anyways, I want to get into the plot of this movie. So, and how avoidable it really is. Let's think about it that way too. Doc Brown comes back to 1985 after being in the future and says, "We got to take you back. I got to take you to the future because something's going to happen with your kids." Now, I was just thinking, why would he wait? Why would he go back to the future to do it? Instead, why wouldn't he just say, "Hey, Marty, I just need you. There's a couple things I need you to know. Don't hit the fucking Rolls Royce and make sure you don't let your kid do this fucking thing." Like, that's it. Movie done.
well, we already learned from the first one. Marty is not going to take orders very well.
No, but Doc Brown doesn't like to fuck with the future that much. So I'm thinking maybe this is how he could maybe mess with it without doing it out of time. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how to put it other than that. Like, he's not going to the future. He's not going in the past and making something different so the future is better. Like going back before his real time.
Right.
He's going back to his real time saying, "Hey man, don't do this shit."
But he doesn't know everything that would have led to that. So I think he's trying to get it closer to where I could change that, but not change something where it's a butterfly effect way back when.
He knew about the Rolls Royce. He even mentioned it.
Right.
So I'm saying, the Rolls Royce accident that caused you to. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why they had to go to the future to fix the future. Since it hasn't happened yet, you can just not let it happen. But just take it.
Look,
Just,
we can't.
but
We
hey,
can. Yeah, but we can have this argument about every fucking step of the way. Like,
that's why I wanted to
back
get into
and
these
visit-
time travel.
go
rules,
back and visit your previous self and put a fucking like air mattress under you before you slip and fall off the fucking tub.
Yeah.
So you don't invent the flux capacitor. But then, Doc, you're probably stuck there if that happens.
So there's the other thing we want to get to then. Okay, so we learn but they do eventually go to the future. And I want to go with my 6-pack here, right? Because one of my 6-pack is they kind of do a shot, almost a identical scene for how Marty comes into town. Like he goes around the Texaco and then sees the town the way it is. They kind of do that. So I think that was a good little.
He's like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah, I like that. Like I like how both of them give us him getting the feel of the town the same way. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nostalgic,
Yeah.
And it felt right. And it's funny because I wished it would have been the same. It'd have been interesting if they could have done it the same, probably in the next one. But oh well, shit happens.
So one of my 6-packs, which actually comes about around here, also is the Mayor Goldie Wilson.
Mayor Goldie Wilson. Oh, that's not good. He's hover conversion guy now.
But that it's still or yes, that's what he is now.
Yeah, his great grandson. My grandfather was the mayor of Hill Valley.
That throwback I liked.
And now I'm doing hover conversions or something like that for $39,900. Like it was like $40,000.
I love that they included that though.
Yeah.
Well,
although we got to talk. It's not. I didn't put down as a generic, but you got to talk about how they only went to 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you think now that we're at what age we are at, and we grew up in the 80s, it really isn't that long between 1985 and 2015. It's just the whole,
you went 30 years into the past. Seems like a nice round number, 30 years. And he said about 30 years. That was at the end of the first one.
I get, for the age of the characters and having kids and doing things, I understand why the timing has to be what it is in that way. But it's kind of like when we did Terminator. Like I said, we're doing a time travel series here. It feels like when you go too far back or too far forward or not far enough forward, you tend to put things out there that when you're telling the future, and once it gets there, it'll get there faster than you might think, and it won't look right.
Right, but there's nothing you can do about that though. If you're going to do a movie set in the future, unless you're going to get all like crazy and futuristic, like hackers, like that kind of technology, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
look at these computers. Unless you're gonna do something like that has a hacker's quality, or fuck that.
I really think the biggest mistake they made was the flying cars. I think having the hover stuff, because I think that
the
that's
hoverboard was the biggest mistake, because that was a false promise that people have been waiting 30 years for since that movie came out.
everybody knows that it's not possible in physics. It's just because the only way you can make a board hover is by having the magnetic, just like a roller coaster does underneath it. But you
Really?
have to be on top of that
Right.
strip. There's nothing that can let you hover.
You don't believe in technology, do you?
No, I do, but I understand physics. Physics tells you no.
Aliens.
I mean, it just is. Mass and thrust are a thing, okay? And you can't be off without having something that
now.
Well, okay, but that's so far off.
Hey,
we're so far off of that thing
question.
couldn't even go far enough in the future.
How many years ago was it that we thought the atom was the smallest fucking particle?
Not that long ago.
Okay, then.
Although technically,
okay, then.
No, technically, when they discovered the atom, people theorized that there were things that made the building blocks of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think people always had the inkling that things break down further, and then it got to the Higgs boson particle.
You sound
recently.
but you sound very narrow-minded when you say this. I'm just saying.
I'm not narrow-minded. I
that you don't think hoverboards are ever possible.
I think the way that they show, not in my lifetime, is what I'm trying to say. And that thing thought it was going to be in my lifetime.
Just saying.
So in my lifetime, no. Our great grandkids maybe will be slipping around on something that somehow can hover, but maybe that's because of gravitational shift, because the moon did something.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that movie Moonfall?
No.
Oh, yeah, watch that. You'll see. You'll fucking see. The moon will pull you off the earth. Fucking A, man.
Oh, boy.
And you can hover all day long.
I got to give, my another six-pack, too.
Go for it.
Marty's jacket. Even though that's not something I ever thought would be fulfilled, but that jacket's awesome. Well, I'd say the whole outfit, the jacket and the hat together.
I want to say
iconic.
That jacket is genius.
It is.
And I don't know why we don't have those fitting jackets, because the way they accordioned on the sleeves and on the jacket, like you push a button and it kind of felt you to where it would slide in and it would stop.
But it also dried you off.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking the way it can automatically fit you was kind of something that, why aren't we doing that? Like, I don't know. Because we're late. Because the problem is, if you can't make it cheaply,
I'm going to tell you the problem.
You can't have it.
Because you've got a jacket that can automatically adjust to fit you, and it can also blow dry you off if you get wet and fall into a little pond.
That's amazing.
Which is amazing, but there's electronics in that shit. So common sense would tell me once that jacket gets wet, you're going to get your ass fucking electrocuted, and that company's going to get sued, and they don't want to deal with it.
Well, yeah, that's the other reason.
Because what happens
liability.
What happens if you get in a knife fight, then you fall into the pond, and then you get electrocuted.
Well, as I say, the
electronic,
cost prohibitive.
It short-circuited, you fell in there, and then you got cooked.
I don't think there's that much power in it, but I will say it is cost prohibitive, meaning either it's a lawsuit or it costs too much to make. One of the two.
Could be.
So I think that's where. But I want to get to this. So we get to the future. Marty cracks the scheme to. He wanted to do, actually kind of smart, but Doc was a dick, and threw it away. If he'd let Marty just keep it, nothing ever would have happened. So whatever.
What do you mean nothing would have ever happened?
Well, Marty would have made money, but not.
It changes fucking everything for him and everyone around him and everyone around them.
Sure, but not in a negative way. It's good people.
You don't know that. Fucking cocknozzle. Listen, Marty could get fucking rich. He could turn into Biff himself. Power and money ruin people.
I will agree with you there. But here's what I want to get to. So
seriously, it could have been Martyville that you're rolling into.
I doubt that's what it would be. But I will say this. So, but then, Biff takes the thing. They don't know he takes it and comes back to the future. And then they go back to Hill Valley and Things are just not right. And we end up finding out, that Biff did steal the thing and do the thing. Then we get the new rules of time travel, it feels like. Like, all of a sudden, what the way that was explained before isn't exactly the way it is now.
Mhm.
Like, now, Doc tells us on a chalkboard that there are two lines of time. There's the original timeline where his father knocks out Biff and everything is the normal way.
Right.
And then there's the alternate timeline where Biff does the thing, and that's the one they're on, the alternate timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So what it makes me think is that there are two timelines happening simultaneously. So why would you need to fix the one you're in if you know the one that you want already still exists? You're just not in it anymore. So there you go. I just fucking blow your...
No, I'm going to tell you right now, though, my generic
Go ahead.
is Biff with the almanac getting rich and tearing that whole town apart. Because what makes this the most generic part of the movie is the fact that there is no fucking sports book that would have accepted a fucking bet from him after so many times.
100%.
Vegas will kick you the fuck out if they don't like the fact that you're winning.
Especially when he was betting in the 60s, most likely.
And he's like, also, you could tell he was arrogantly stupid making these bets too.
The mob would have taken him out.
He goes to the fucking track. Like, there is no way Biff is placing any bets. Nobody's taking that action at all at a certain point.
He's like, I'm going to pick
that fucking rich.
All 7 places in this race. I'm going to do the super exacta.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
But you know what would happen. You know what would happen. The mob, after he won too much money, would take him in the back of a casino.
Yeah.
And pop a couple at him, and you wouldn't see him again. He'd be buried in the desert in Las Vegas.
Brass knuckles.
Yeah. He'd been like Casino, He'd have been fucked up.
So that's the generic for me, because you're like, I mean, as lame as and out there as some of the shit is with it. It's like, dude, I mean, again, the hoverboard and the self-drying jacket to me are way more plausible than Biff making all those bets and making all that money.
Yeah, that's the funny part, is that to me, it would have. I've always thought, well, have you ever heard the mental exercise or theory? Like, when you think about things, if you could go back in time and talk to your 7-year-old self, what would you tell yourself at 7 years old?
My 7-year-old self wouldn't listen to me, so it doesn't matter.
But assuming that they would. Right? Assuming that you could tell them something and they would listen to that thing and they would do it. You wouldn't tell them who won the World Series or the Super Bowl.
I don't think the self of me from last year would listen to me today. So I can't say that.
Well, your self sucks. I'm sorry you're such a doubter of yourself.
I'm just saying, I don't think I would listen to myself a year from now. That's all.
Nah, but yourself would prove it to you by telling you something only you knew you thought about at that age, or something. Like, just think about it. You would trust them because you would connect with yourself. But my point is that you could tell yourself something. You wouldn't say to yourself, man, make sure you bet on the New England Patriots to win the Super Bowl every other year in the 2000s, Mm-hmm. You wouldn't do that. You'd probably tell yourself, hey, go make sure you invest a shitload of money in Apple or something. You know what I mean?
Or MP3.
Yeah. Digital storage. That's
Bitcoin,
what you invest
motherfucker,
in.
Bitcoin.
Intel. You ever heard of them? Put your money in it.
Bitcoin and get out 6 months later.
Bitcoin, and then in 2015, when it does that big surge, in 6 years, it reached critical mass. But no, that's what I'm telling you. You would tell yourself these things, not give yourself sports stuff, because the one thing I thought about is if you're thinking, well, especially Marty should know this, the moment you start winning, that means someone else didn't, and that's changing that future, that ripple that you talk about.
Right. Change the law.
That butterfly effect, that you've changed something. So maybe now the sporting events you thought were going to end a certain way may not, because that ripple would extend to somehow affecting that.
Never know.
And so to me, it's easier to bet on like a large corporation because you're just putting money in it. You're not making a change to it. You know what I mean? You're not doing something that affects somebody else's life in it. You're just getting the money.
I would
So
tell my previous self to invent Lugal.
Google? Lugal. Yeah.
Lugal.
Yeah. I don't know. I
You
don't know,
I
man.
never thought about that, though. It's awesome. We got our Crispin Glover connection
Yeah.
from Back to the Future and Hot Tub Time Machine.
That's true, but
The
he's not
first-
in this one.
The first Back to the Future, yes.
Yeah, he quit being in them because he was kind of an asshole, I guess, after the first one. And they just use him in cutback scenes here and there, but he doesn't actually ever come back to the
And
movie.
that's a shame, too,
I agree.
that he's not in that. That was almost actually going to be my generic.
But, that doesn't really matter because it's supposed to be older him going forward.
Right,
So
but still, I mean, you've got the mom back. You've got,
what can you do, man? You can't.
But-
It was his choice, actually. Ultimately, it wasn't that they didn't.
The thing with this is, as long as you're not replacing Marty McFly or Doc Brown, you're fine.
Yeah.
So it really
This
doesn't matter that much, but it would have been nice.
Yeah, the franchise is those two, not anybody else. There's
And-
no one else out. I think you could.
And that's as
you
much
could
as I
replace
love Elizabeth Shue, I still think if they could have kept Jennifer's
Claudia.
original character, still would have been better.
Yeah,
Because it's not
I
like
agree.
when you're watching movies, especially like even as a kid though, like when you're watching movies, it doesn't sit well with you when they change actors for sequel.
no, it feels
At all.
cheap. Like you feel
It's-
cheated
yes,
in some
you
way.
do. It's not the same.
I would agree. It's like you saw Christopher Reeve Superman, and then you see someone else be Superman, and they're not quite as good. You feel like it cheapens it. Just is what it is.
No, but I'm talking about sequels though. I'm not talking about.
I know
like,
what you're saying, but my
different
point is, in
movies,
general,
different
when you
versions.
have an image of something built up in your mind, if it can't live up to that image, then you just feel disappointed. And whether that's within a show where they replace a main character, well, like a good example, Iron Man, right? But the thing is, they used Don Cheadle, so they got it
right.
But the first guy was really good
Yeah.
in that. I forget his name, but he was really good, and so it was kind of different. But at least John Cheadle's a great actor, so that worked. But if it had been something else,
Yeah.
And I remember Fast and the Furious, who was in the first one?
Fuck, come on. Again with Fast and the Furious.
Well, no, there was the one guy who refused to be in anymore after that, the one rapper, and so what's his name came in, Ludacris,
Yeah.
and so he came in and he ended up being
Ja
in him.
Rule.
Ja Rule, yeah, Ja Rule, yeah. So that was another instance where it actually worked out, but there are many that don't,
Yeah, but that's different too, though. It's a different character.
Well, yeah, it is a different
They were two
character, but
different
it was
characters. So that's different. I'm talking when you replace a character with a different person.
yeah.
That's all.
It'd be like if they replaced Brian with someone else.
Right.
Some dude
Like
comes in
his
looking
brother.
like, yeah, it actually worked pretty good. I don't know, but I got a 6-pack here because once Marty meets Biff again, because once they figure out something's wrong and he finds Biff's palace or whatever it is, and he goes up there and he talks to Biff about what happens, and Biff tells him all the information he needs. But my favorite thing though is, after Biff says a wild-eyed scientist and some young kid, and I didn't think it'd be you, and he's going to shoot him with the gun, Marty throws that fucking ashtray at him.
Yeah,
And that's not just throwing something at him to distract him. That thing, if it had hit him, it had done some real damage. I was like, Marty actually did something that was like violent. You know what I mean?
fight or
'Cause
flight.
that thing stuck in the thing. So if that had hit him in the head, that was
He had
stuck
a-
in his eyeball.
He had a fucking gun.
I know, but
What the hell are
you
you
don't
gonna
think
do?
of Marty that way. Like, there's nowhere else in the series where Marty does something that would kill somebody. You know what I mean? That's just crazy.
Self-defense.
I agree, but I liked it. It's my 6-pack, so I'm just saying. Just saying, it's pretty cool.
I don't know if that ashtray would have landed that way. I don't think in a million years that ashtray would have landed in the chair like it did either, though.
I don't know. Look, if you look at it, it was a ring with points on it, it looked like a crown that was laying flat,
Yeah.
to represent a king's crown. And so maybe, I mean, there was some shit made back in the day That's
I
really
think
different
if
than the way it's
anything,
made.
it would have cut Biff.
Yeah,
Grazed
either
him.
way, it
I
would
don't
have.
think it's not gonna impale him like it did the chair. That's all.
I don't know.
It's a fucking ashtray.
I wish we'd have seen that. This has been a much more violent
It
movie.
would have been good though. You're
And
right.
he's running at him with the thing stuck in his head. You little shit!
So,
Running around
you
getting.
ever wonder if, and I have no idea. I'm just curious thinking about this now with the whole Crispin Glover thing. If they added that in there to that timeline that I killed him
Oh,
just as a fuck you, I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I don't think so. I think because obviously when he fixes everything back in 1955,
Right.
his father is still alive. So I don't think it was for that reason. I think that was just because of how he was infatuated with Lorraine in the first movie. They had to play that up somehow. And I think that was the only way they thought they could get them together is only if he was dead.
I
If
wouldn't
George
call
is
it
dead.
infatuated.
Well, you know what
I think there's
it's
a
got
more criminally inclined term for that probably than infatuated.
I don't know, horny.
No,
Horny beyond reason to where he's a rapist.
something like that.
Yeah. I mean, but my point is like he had such a thing for her that's the only way that he could be with her is if they figure out a way to kill George. And I think that's why they did that in the plot, right? Like
Yeah, just
to
makes
kill
you
him
wonder.
off and there you go. Bob's your uncle.
Yep,
Or George is dead, I guess best way to say it.
George is dead. Your mom's got boobs.
Yeah, man, that is weird. That line you heard in the trailer when you hear it, Mom, you got such big,
You got so big.
big. Like, what would you do if you saw your mother and she had a breast augmentation where they were way bigger and she was showing out cleavage and shit? How would you feel about that?
Oh,
Would you have that reaction, or would you be like, oh, fuck.
like if I didn't know about it, yeah.
Okay.
That's all that is. Like if your
Okay.
mom did it and didn't tell you,
Yeah, okay.
you're like, what the
Well,
hell?
that's what I'm saying. Like if tomorrow your mother comes over and she's got rocking cleavage because she
I'd
got a
just be
breast
like, where the
augmentation.
fuck did those come from?
That's what you would say? Okay.
Probably.
See, that's what I would say too. I
Something
wouldn't
like
be
that.
like looking at them and thinking, wow, they're big, because that makes me think he's like checking them out in a certain way, you know? I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
It was, but that's a throwback to the first one.
Yeah. I know it is.
So
You're
you're still
my
in.
yeah. Yeah, he doesn't know how to react
Right.
around his mother. I get it.
Well, of course he doesn't. She tried to date rape him in a car.
Yeah.
Remember, and I know these are sequels, but think about Marty's timeline for this. It wasn't a day ago for him that his mom was trying to make sex to him in the car. And then you go to this, to now mom is thin and married to dad. It's all good. Dad's a successful author. And then I wake up the next day, mom has giant augmented knockers and she's married to Biff.
And living in a casino.
This is Marty's timeline, okay? That's fucked up.
3 days. In 3 days. Yeah. In 3 days. 3 fucking days, man. Like yesterday, you know. Crazy. It is a crazy timeline. I'll give you that. But when he goes back to the past to get the magazine, Gray's Sports Almanac, everybody knows that now. Do you think everyone will know what that is for the end of time? The Gray's Sports Almanac. Even though this isn't the more favorite movie, I feel people will know what that is. Like if I ask somebody.
No, I think they would recognize the hoverboard more than that.
I've got one back behind me on my.
They would recognize the hoverboard way more than the sports almanac. We would know it, but I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be like, there's people now that haven't seen this movie, but they recognize the hoverboard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or the Nike shoes that.
Or the Nike shoes, yes.
Because they're sneakerheads that are into that shit.
Right.
Yeah. That's the promise I thought we should be fulfilled. Self-tightening laces.
Agree. Way more than a jacket that adjusts itself to you.
There are some golf shoes that have this thing. You put them on and they have this little dial and you turn it. and it tightens them up for you, and then you push the button and it releases.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. It's not automated, but it's pretty easy. But those are really expensive. They're like a couple $100.
Hey, my shoes, my pumps do that, sort of. Sort of.
Oh man. All you need is a jean jacket and an IROC Z, and I think you've got it.
I think so.
But back in the past, when he goes back, do you like how we're reliving all those moments, but then kind of are around it? Do you like the? Do you feel the tension's good there? Do you like the setup?
What do you mean reliving them? And
Like you're seeing Marty too, the real Marty.
Right.
Look at the other Marty.
Okay, yeah.
Or kind of like, when we think about it, it reminds you of Hot Tub Time Machine 2 with the multiple loos. Anyways, so you're seeing Marty look at the other Marty.
I mean, that's sad.
And wouldn't you now knowing that you're looking at you doing something, wouldn't you look behind yourself to see if you had another one of you watching you now?
I don't know, because you're the one that traveled into the future. So, but yeah, I could see how you could think, wait a second, how many other fucking me's are doing this shit right now?
Hey, hold on, everybody, raise your fucking hand if you're me. Raise your fucking hands if you're me. Which one of us is playing the guitar?
None of y'all, because y'all went through that same accident.
That's fucked up, isn't it?
So yeah, wouldn't that suck though, to find out, to see yourself and what you turned into?
Yeah. That is, that is the part. That's why I said at the beginning of this is that if Doc Brown were to tell him, even though he doesn't like to listen, say, hey man, I'm serious. And I would say, this is just like when you left that note for me about being shot. This is my telling you this, and he could have given him that warning. And I think they have that friendship. That's what I was trying to say. I think they could have had that, but that would mean the movie didn't have to happen.
But see,
right?
And then that's also why Doc Brown has to do this and fuck with the future, because Marty did that for him. So,
yeah,
there's it's like ideally he doesn't want to do that, but there's a line. And that line
I know that
is friendship.
Well, I've always thought that they both have selfish needs sometimes. Like Doc doesn't want to be like
Marty,
put into
Marty does. He just wants to throw a couple sleeping bags in the back, get Jennifer out there to the lake.
He wants to get laid on by the lake.
Get it on.
But Doc Brown does. But the reason he does everything he does that he shouldn't is because he has the thing showing he's been committed, right?
Yeah.
So he's very selfish about himself. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, it's very weird. Like he wants to make changes that are more selfish, and it's not about, changing the future because something shouldn't have happened like Biff. It's more about, well, look what happened to me. If in that same universe he would have been the second wealthiest man and Marty would have been okay, do you think he would have done anything? Probably not.
Well, and I guess it's also to you think about if you actually had that power to do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go stop fucking Waco from happening? Or, there's a lot of other stuff you could be investing your quote unquote time, pun intended, into.
That reminds me of that James Franco show where he goes in that diner.
Yeah.
And it goes back in time. Yeah.
I
didn't ever finish it, but 11 something.
JFK.
Yeah. What was that? But that right there is exactly what you're talking about, right? Like you would go do the thing that is morally correct.
Something that could help a lot of fucking people other than just yourself. And
I'm going to be fucking rich. Although I think I'd go back and tell my 7-year-old self, here's a list of companies you need to take all of your lunch money, save, and invest in. So, see, Microsoft, yes. That is what I would need to do. That's what I need to do.
Pornhub, yes.
Pornhub, yes. Now,
I'll just go back and give myself Powerball numbers.
Now, do you have any more 6-packs?
How many I give so far? 2?
You gave 2.
I gave my 2. Yes. So there's so many different hokey things. I will say this is just one that it's a 6-pack to me just because it's like a memorable one to me is all
Mm-hmm.
is the pizza.
Oh, the
I
hydrating.
still love that part.
You really know how to hydrate a pizza, Mom.
Like, is it ready yet? Like,
Yeah.
but the thing about it though is like that I just like that scene. It just was always funny to me because I'm like, that's like I know that'll never happen, but still, that's really cool. Wouldn't that be awesome? But
I want to say something about that
okay.
though. While the hydrating the pizza isn't going to happen, the attention span and the patience has been shortened.
That's
a lot, so that it did tell the future a little.
But
people expected things to be right now, right away.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. That's why I find that scene so funny now. Just that, is it ready yet? Like when you look at today, our kids are like stomping their fucking feet if their video doesn't load in half a second. What's wrong with this thing? You see one circle where it's buffering, you're fucking going ballistic.
It's funny. We're probably all like that to a degree now. Which we've all had our attention span shortened, and it sucks. It sucks. I bet myself 15, 20 years ago,
like,
would be able to sit down and do a lot more and watch a lot more and appreciate it.
Remember dial-up?
Yeah.
You would have waited. Even if you could have gotten your hands on a magazine, you still would have fucking waited 7 minutes for that nudie picture to fucking load line by line down your screen.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Otherwise, you're waking up and doing a morning spank.
Right. The 3/4 of the picture that's loaded so far.
Why does it have to load top down?
Exactly. Or why couldn't she be standing on her head?
Whoever invented that was not a guy, because we needed it to go bottom up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I've got a 6-pack I want to throw out here, and it's actually the end, the complete end of the movie though, and that's the Western Union guy and delivering the letter. Now, did you notice who that was?
Who is it?
What other movie is he in that is fairly popular? Jackass. Happy Gilmore.
Oh, shit.
He's the guy
it is.
That hits him with the bug.
Yep.
Yes. Jackass.
Jackass.
I was saying, I was like, man, I realized, I'm like, oh, wait a second, it's that guy. So yeah, he's in there. But I like it because I like the message. I like it sets us up for the third movie.
The finale. As of now.
It gets us there.
As of now, the finale.
As of now. What do you think? You think there's another one coming out?
I hope not. You hear talk all the time, though.
Well, there's a musical, and I'd watch that.
You hear talk all the time about a reboot or a sequel or a remake, whatever.
If they rebooted it, would you do it?
What?
Would you watch it if it was rebooted?
I will tell you, I would, but the only reason I would is it's something I know that my wife would want us to watch with the kids.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. You know what I mean? Like, once that came out, but that's partly too, it's like, we're at the point where it's a struggle to come up with family movies to watch because we fucking watched them all. So yes, that's something we would watch at some point.
Do you know who I think, and I know this is weird. I don't know who I'd cast as the scientist, but I know who I'd put as Marty if it were being filmed like
Tom
right
Cruise?
now, or even
Tom Cruise.
What?
Tom Cruise?
No.
Same height.
Tom Holland.
That would be fucking good.
So you go with him, and I gotta think who would be a good. I gotta think of someone who would have good chemistry.
Samuel L. Jackson
as Doc.
Yes,
Doc Brown, and he's brown. I love it.
Fuck yes, motherfucker.
That's amazing. I would love that. But
you got to go back to the motherfucking future, motherfucker.
Is there anybody else?
Because something's got to be done about your motherfucking kids. There's some fucking snakes on this motherfucking DeLorean.
Although I have a feeling that if they did it, Tom Holland would make a great Marty, but then they would probably go female with the Doctor now.
Oh yeah, they would.
You know they would.
So
So, Helen Bonham Carter,
Ellen DeGeneres.
she'd be funny.
She'd be.
She has the right
She
temperament.
would for quirky Doc Brown. She actually would be good. I've heard
Emma Thompson.
everything I've heard about her forever.
Yeah.
You know,
She's kind of an asshole,
made
though,
me
I hear,
laugh.
too.
But as far as a character, she would be a great female Doc Brown.
And I want to say this. On my personal Twitter account, she is my most famous follower.
That's not something to be proud of, but okay.
She doesn't follow that many people, but she follows me,
Why
and
the
I don't
fuck
ever
does-
put anything out
Why
there.
does she follow
So,
you?
I don't remember what I did or said, but
Okay.
she thought that was funny or something. I don't know.
Oh, way to go.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. I know. Don't get me
You got an asshole to follow you on. Good
Good
job, buddy.
Yeah. Now, I haven't given my generic yet because it's kind of an all-around thing again. And
Right.
I think I'm going to sound like a broken record here.
Probably. Go ahead.
And that's Biff and Griff. Well, Biff, actually, I'm going to say this. Biff is only still generic because of the 1955 Biff. Biff, as an old man, is much more savvy and seems like a better character than his younger self. And Griff is just a fucking moron that I just can't deal with. I just, like, someone can't be that stupid, like, and be played that dumb. I just think the character is too over the top. And same with his minions. The way they talk.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you can't go on a hoverboard on water without power.
Unless you got power.
Yeah, the way they're saying it, it's just, you know.
It's pretty exaggerated, but.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my generic. It detracts. And I hate it because I love these movies.
Yeah.
But then there's those few things.
I like Biff and Griff, so.
It's because you're an idiot.
Well, I'm the demographic. So there you go.
You are a moron.
I was going to ask.
I'll say it gets better in the third one to me. And we'll get into that when we do the third one.
What do you think of the Cafe 80s?
It was very much a cat. Well, the problem is not all the 80s had finished yet when they filmed this.
That's why I'm asking, yeah.
So it was very much captured from its time with the Reagan and the Ayatollah and Michael Jackson at the peak of their popularities there in the mid 80s.
But I was going to say, so like my thing with it is it's funny since the 80s weren't over when they made that, which is, I find it really weird because it's like, we already talked about going back to the past. Well, obviously you can recreate stuff there. Going to the future, it's fucking coin flip. You pick whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
It's two different things, but setting something up that's supposed to be in the future, but back to where you're at right then in a culmination of the 80s.
Should have been easy.
It should have been easy, but I definitely think that there's a lot to be desired in that Cafe 80s.
I would agree.
I agree. One fucking video game, Wild Gunman. First of all, we had the whole funny bit about that, whatever.
No Super Mario.
But literally, more video games, more like boom boxes on the wall, somebody standing there holding one, whatever.
Whatever the fuck, yeah. You're right.
Like
there's things missing.
There's a lot of pop culture stuff that could have and should have been there.
Miami Vice theme things. That's that. Someone should have been in there looking like Don Johnson, like Crockett and Tubbs.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when you go to Hot Tub Time Machine, where they just go into the cafe area, at the
ski resort, the lodge.
Yeah, what the hell, K-Val,
motherfuckers!
Like that's a Cafe 80s right there.
Yeah, and the Poison concert.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I agree that the Cafe 80s kind of weak. Could have been a little better. What's funny is when they go up and they ask him what he wants, and Ronald Reagan's describing what quesadillas or something.
Yeah.
I think when I saw this back then, I'd never had a quesadilla and probably didn't know what the fuck it was.
Well, I think, it's true. Back in the 80s.
Now when I watch it, I'm like, I noticed that because now I know what it is.
Right.
And I never really cared to think about it.
Right. Because you were
naive.
Yeah. You weren't cultured.
I wasn't cultured. I didn't know what a fucking chicken quesadilla was.
Here's the other thing. It's Cafe 80s, so why are you getting a Pepsi that you don't know how to open? If it's Cafe
Yeah.
80s, why wouldn't they have an 80s style Pepsi bottle? Because then you got the throwback, which that still is in the first one, where he's back in
Yeah.
the 50s. He doesn't know how to open a fucking bottle of pop.
And he still doesn't, yeah.
And
in the
then,
future.
which I know they were kind of doing the joke with that, but at the same time, it's like, it's Cafe 80s. Why are you giving us a bottle of pop that hasn't been invented yet, even today?
Why didn't he get Tab?
Or Tab.
Yeah. Why didn't Tab pop up? You know, whatever. Because isn't that a Coke product, though? And it turned into Diet Coke later on, I believe. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, man, I agree. But my generic is Biff and Griff and all that. Just not a fan. Didn't do it for me. I'm sorry. I know you love them.
I don't love
that's
them.
about
I said
it.
I like them.
Yeah.
If I said love, I didn't mean it. I like Biff.
Did I say love? I did not say love.
Don't love. I didn't say that. I didn't say the L word. I did like the other L word.
Yeah.
The little L, not the big L. I like Biff. He works. Just say that.
He works. He
Say
works. All right. All right. So I think we've talked about this. We beat this horse to death. Do you want to rate this up?
Yeah, let's rate it.
So obviously, if you listen to our last episode, we think that Back to the Future is probably the most perfect movie made in the 80s. And this sequel is not that. So I want to get that out of the way quickly. I mean, it gives us the nostalgia for the first one, which is nice. But it doesn't do a lot. It's almost, it does feel like some of those reviews I said where they're trying to make money and are cashing in on a sequel. But we still get to enjoy the characters, though, right? We still like it because we like the people. We like Marty, we like Doc, and we want to see the hijinks. But it wasn't like we were watching something where we're like mind blown this time. Nothing blew my mind. Even back then, it didn't blow my mind as much. I think I was kind of annoyed when I saw the cars in there. And I remember, here's something for you. When I was in high school, I dated a girl who had a Ford Probe, and that's what they used for those futuristic cars that you see with the skirts around them. They were Ford Probes before they went out on the road, I think, back then. So that's a fact you didn't know. But I dated a girl that had one. That's all.
You dated a girl. That's a fact I did not know.
Yeah, I did. Anyways, I'm sure she's somewhere smiling without me.
Okay.
But anyways, here's what I'm going to say. I really like it, but this comes nowhere near the first one. It's good. It's above average, but I think it could have been better. So I only give it 16.
All right. So, yeah, I am very much in the same boat with you. I'm just going to say I gave it 17. So the thing with it is it's a good movie. And I was kind of looking at it like, had this been the standalone and the first one not come out and it just started, you know what I mean, from built a time machine, we got to go save your kids, like how would that be? So that's why I'm like, obviously you would have to know the first one to know a lot about what's going on in the second one, but kind of looking at the movie just from that lens, put it in that vacuum and think, okay, because
I don't know. I think you could, with exposition, you could tie some of those loose ends up. And it would be, I think you're right. If they stood this one alone.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, obviously, yes, it pales in comparison to the first one, but what the fuck movie wouldn't after that? You know? You can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Like this is an impossible task to make a sequel to live up to this. And we already talked about this on the last episode. It's like when you're going into the past, that's a much better setup than going into the future in a movie because you're setting yourself up to fail in a lot of ways. But at the same time, what it does give us, that's why I rated it as highly as I did, it does give us a lot of fun stuff. We didn't even talk earlier. I think we mentioned some of the stuff in the last episode, but Jaws coming out, the 3D Jaws coming, and some of the different stuff in the future, like what things could possibly be like, even though a lot of this is just a reach and it's being hokey, but at the same time, it's like who knows? Maybe we could have,
Have fun with it.
have fun with it. And that's what they did. And I think they did a good job with that. So, for that reason, again, like you said, we still got to enjoy the main characters go through this. And we saw what porn mags looked like in 1955 too, with Ooh La
Ooh
La.
La La.
So that was like, that was a nice touch. But yeah, so 17, I think, and I felt good about that score because I'm like, I definitely say this is at least 7 cans lower than the first one.
Yeah.
It's not a bad movie. It's actually a pretty good movie, but
It's not a home run.
Nothing compared to the first one. That's all.
So what's that average put us at?
16 and a half.
And what might, pray tell, do we think is as good or better
I'll tell you
than
right now, Scrooge, 16 and a half.
I enjoy them very similarly, except for Scrooge's Christmas.
Yeah, you gave Scrooge 20. So
Yeah. Well, they're both good movies. But as a
Yeah.
Christmas movie, Scrooged is really good.
Commando, 16.75.
Wow. Those are very... These movies are nowhere near the same.
Well,
I would say Commando's better in its genre.
I'll tell you what's fucked up. Over the Top, 16.75 as well.
I probably gave that a low score.
Over the Top?
Yeah.
Give that 16 and a half.
Oh. Well, see, there you go. So, no, that makes sense.
Because it's great. The fuck?
Well, I enjoy them both similarly. I could sit and watch them both. Although I will say I have seen this movie more.
Right. So
I own this one.
I mean, I'm trying to see anything that kind of... Well, I'll tell you one. So one I thought was interesting just to look at with the score. Home Alone 2.
Yeah. Sequel
Where we thought very highly of the first one.
Yeah.
And then, the second one, which actually it's interesting. So Home Alone 2, which is what I wonder, because you said Home Alone 2 is just a rehash of the first movie, which I do agree with, but
yes,
I liked that it was, and actually liked what
this
it
was
offered.
not a rehash of the first movie, but
This was not, but in a lot of ways it was.
it's
You had
similar, but not the same.
so many throwbacks, and then also going back in time and reliving a big chunk of that and showing that
Yeah.
again. You know what I mean? So
Literally reliving
it was actually a rehash in a lot of ways. So Home Alone 2, we gave a 14.75, but mine was 17 and a half for that.
I was
So
probably
this,
12.
you were 12, yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, it makes sense because I was very much it didn't blow me away. Back to the Future 2 blows me away in certain ways because it does give me new things to think about that
Right.
weren't in the first one. That's why it's better for me than that. I mean, it's a better movie to me.
And I think some of it was just, for this one to me, I think some of it that when you get into just some of the crazy stuff too, like floating on the hoverboard, holding on to the DeLorean, some of that stuff, I was like, it's a little too much.
I don't know. Yeah. I think they had to add an action element. It made it fantastical. I would agree, though. They always have to give a hero's journey where they're almost down, then they get it, and they make the...
Well, it's just... but you think about the first one, Marty McFly's big stunt is being stuck in front of Biff's car and jumping up into it and running over everybody and getting back on a skateboard before they hit the shit truck. This one is, I'm going to be flying and holding on to a DeLorean. I learned this in 3 days as Marty McFly, mind you. I learned how to ride a hoverboard, hanging on a DeLorean to get the almanac and do all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
I learned that in 3 days.
And slide up around that car and try to open the door, and now all of a sudden he's flying around the tunnel. Yeah, but it was entertaining, and that's why it's a 16 and not a 23.
Marty, give up music, go back to 1985 and get into skateboarding. You'd be the next Tony Hawk.
I mean, when you think of sequels, what did you say you thought was the greatest sequel of all time?
What, T2?
Yeah. So when you think of sequels, you're thinking that one elevated.
Oh no, Maverick though.
And Maverick, yeah, Maverick and T2,
yeah,
those things elevated their franchises into a different place. This one did not, but it was so high though. When it came down, it didn't come down as far. That's the thing.
So the thing with this is, and the stuff we're nitpicking, It's tough. Like, they didn't fuck it up. I'll say that.
No.
They did not fuck up on the sequel.
No.
But it was just like a lot of stuff, like we said, it's like when you're going into the future, like that's if you're gonna go down.
Be
that
sure
road,
what you're doing.
you know, even if you're not sure. But here's the thing, you're not sure, but you made it fun. Have fun with it. And they did, and it made it fun. So that's why I said, for me, that's why it does get a pretty good score. But they didn't screw it up. They didn't ruin it.
No.
You know, like
16.5 is a respectable
absolutely,
score.
yeah. Definitely.
People remember that it's out of a 24 scale. Anything over a 12 is above average. So, that's just what it is. All right.
I'm looking at, sorry, real quick. I want to see any other sequels we've done.
We don't do a lot of. We
Men in Black 2, we gave a 13.5.
Yeah, because it was not a good movie.
So, just trying to go by sequels here. Anything else?
And my daughter was in on that. Do you remember what she gave that Men in Black 2?
16.
Yeah, so she gave it a higher score than us.
The Matrix sequel, we gave 15.25.
Yeah, sequel's never as good as the original.
Never as good, but and we probably see that's what like the stuff on here. I don't have a lot to compare to because we wouldn't be doing shows on.
What about Fast and Furious? Any sequels on that?
Well, yeah, there is one actually that we gave an 8 to.
That was number 3.
No, 2. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, that was a horrible sequel. But when you think of other
Tokyo
ones,
Drift, we gave 7.5 to because you gave it a fucking 12.
It's a good movie.
It's not.
It is so important to that franchise. I couldn't give it less than that.
It is not important to that franchise. They made it important to that franchise.
Well, it is. Whether you like it or not, it is. All right. Are we done here?
One more.
Gosh darn. He likes
second Coming to America, 15.75.
Yep. Had some funny moments, but, I want to have my funeral before I die. I think that'd be fun. And then just die right at the end. That'd be a sad day because then you just know you'd be dying all day. How would you be able to have fun, right? Anyways.
Well, you could, write greeting cards to send to people after your death. That's always fun.
I'm dead.
That's always
yes. fun. All right, are we done here?
I think we're good.
All right, we would like to thank you for listening. We also want to remind you to join our Patreon so you can get some of that bonus stuff. Give us suggestions. That's what we want. You can go to sodapopcultureclub.com for all for all things related. For all things related to the show, including your chance to make movie suggestions and our episode schedules there as well. We're on all those social medias. Look for us at Soda Pop Culture Club. And that's it. We're done.
I mean, .cock.
www.anthony.com.
.cock.